Don't hold your breath for GTA 6 because it's not expected until 2025. That's one of our stories, along with Windows 11's minimum requirements here on Off and On Again. This is not a fan podcast of that show, the IT Crowd, just by the way. Anyways, I'm joined as always by my AI co-host, MATT, aka Matt.
Yeah, sorry, I was waiting for the startup sound to play, but that's put in post. Hey.
For now, we're gonna get coded in there. Don't worry about that. God, it's been a weird week for me. A weird weekend. The fact that I don't know. Sometimes these intros, they just go nice and smooth, and sometimes they're not happening for me, and I don't know what I'm doing. One step at a time. Anyways, yeah. This is going to be a relaxed fit episode, so to speak. We got a few news stories, like I mentioned in the intro here, but mostly I just want to talk about a few things, especially some games I've been playing recently, because there's some fun ones, but also some more, let's say, challenging and annoying situations happening with online people. That's stuff I like to talk about just to vent a little bit. But anyways, it's going to be a good time here on the show, but I got to start off with the ErgoChair Core. I released a review just last week. You can go check it out if you are interested in winning, I guess, or receiving a free ErgoChair Core, because I'm going to be giving one of those away. Just go ahead and check out the video, and the details are in there. It's very simple. Yeah, what can I say about that? That's it. But it's not as hot. It's not as hot. That's what I'm happy about. It's not so hot. It's not so cool that I can wear my flannel, but at least I don't have to wear that silly tank top.
Yeah. Or spray yourself with the
spray bottle. Yeah. It's getting too hot. It's way too hot. Oh, yeah. The heat wave is gone. I'm very happy. So yeah,
Same.
Okay. About that heat wave, apparently not far from me, in the interior of this province, in the interior of the mountains, there's a town there that reached the highest ever temperatures in recorded history in our country's weather reporting, essentially. It was like 46 point something.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Insane. I'm glad I don't live there, because it got bad enough here. That's just insane. But
yeah, the whole situation's pretty unreal. Like it gets pretty hot in the Golden Horseshoe. That's the area, like Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara, kind of this corner of Lake Ontario. But yeah, we always think of the West being cool and rainy.
I live here and I think that, so yeah. Yeah. It's been a weird year this year. I mean, it's just like super dry, sunny. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this. We're going to talk about the tech stuff. We go off topic in the pre and post show. That's where we need to do that. So let's get started here with this story we have from WCCF Tech about Microsoft's Windows 11. So we talked about this last week. This extra story here, though, says Microsoft considers lowering Windows 11 minimum chip requirements. And this has to do with their whole the checking software, their PC health check software. And a lot of people were having problems where it was coming up that's saying your PC doesn't meet the minimum requirements. In fact, they have stated their minimum requirements for Windows 11, and they are dramatically increased from what was set in Windows 10. So they pulled this app, right? So I remember you told me about it. It didn't work for you. And I went to look for it, and I couldn't even find it. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe I just can't. I don't know how to look for things on Google anymore. But this is the actual truth. They took it off.
Yeah, so I think I talked about it in the pre-show last week. I ended up reinstalling Windows, and it all started from this stupid PC health check tool, which is supposed to tell you if you're ready to install Windows 11 or not. And I was getting this weird error just saying like your PC cannot run Windows 11, and it didn't give any information. So anyway, went down a huge rabbit hole on it. I figured out I have to turn this TPM switch on in my BIOS. I have a Gigabyte motherboard. But yeah, I mean that tool was not helpful at all, and so they ended up pulling it. if you're wondering about this TPM thing, whether or not you have it turned on, you can go to your device manager. So just right click on your Windows button in your bottom right hand corner, go to device manager. You should see something called security devices. And then below that, there should be something there. If you don't see security devices, you might not have it enabled or have it at all. But it shows my TPM 2.0 under there. As for the requirements being so high, it is weird, but I mean it's not something we've never seen before. You know, it used to be like 30 years ago or whatever, like you had no choice but to upgrade your computer if you wanted the new operating system. We got kind of like things were pretty good around, you know, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. They're all pretty similar operating systems. And well, first of all, Vista was a failure, just terrible. So they wanted to get people, you know, onto 7, I guess, as soon as possible. That's just a guess. Windows 8, also terrible. 8.1, a little better, but really the damage had been done. But, you know, also they don't really want to support these operating systems forever. I mean, there's a subreddit called PBSOD. It stands for Public Blue Screen of Death. And it's just pictures people take of, you know, like signs in like menus in McDonald's or signs by the highway or like ATMs where there's like a Windows error or whatever on the screen. And there's still so many running Windows XP, which is not supported anymore. So from that standpoint, it doesn't really make sense that Windows 11 would cut out so many people. I think Windows 10 support ends in 2025, maybe. But at the same time, you know, I don't know. How long do you think the average person keeps their PC?
The average person?
Yeah, it's because like we would upgrade long before many other people would, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we'd also buy higher quality parts and, you know, take the thing apart and blow the dust out more often than the average person. So I'm wondering if somebody going and buying like a Walmart computer, like non-gaming, like just a crappy Walmart computer, if it would last longer than the insatiable appetite of the PC hardware enthusiasts computer. Because we'd want to replace them pretty quickly, right? But the other ones just don't last very long.
No. That could depends on the demographic and who's actually interested in buying that PC. But I can think of people who were maybe in like the boomer generation, like my parents. They definitely would be holding on to their computers much longer. Like if it's working for what they use it for, you're talking like internet, just like email and things like that, like 10 years easily, and nothing. They would like not want to upgrade anything in that computer. Like even this laptop I'm using right now, I bought 6 years ago, I think, something like that. So it's still going for what I'm using it for. I can imagine somebody who's not even a power user at all is going to be going for 10 years at least, if they can. If it's not broken, they'd still use it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if has Microsoft really given us a good reason why we absolutely need this. I've heard or read conflicting reports about whether this requirement is for computer manufacturers or people, just random people installing it on their computer. And if, you know, somebody who doesn't have this TPM module, if they would not just be able to run Windows 11, but like with a warning message on install.
Mm-hmm. I don't know enough about this TPM thing. I don't know why it's there. I don't want to see it there. It looks like one of those frickin' plugs you have for your USB or HD audio header.
Yeah, but that's you don't.
I don't
need
see
that.
add-on one. I know you don't.
Yeah, that's just weird. I
don't know. I don't understand why you need it. I need to read more into this. But as far as the minimum requirements go, they're not insane though, right? Like it's not like you need some machine to power this thing. But like you said, like if it's something a bit older, it might not be able to meet those requirements. But I feel like even like a low to mid-range laptop is going to be fine with this. So a 64-bit dual core processor, 1 gigahertz or faster, 64 gigabyte drive, 4 gigabytes of RAM or greater, and the rest is just extra stuff. But those are like the main headlines there. So it's not like that's a pretty basic machine today. Very basic.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are also, especially like Intel owners, because Intel has like not really done a whole lot with their processors for like a decade. They get, and they can run most games on like original Core i7 or i5s maybe. That they sort of get this idea in their head that there's absolutely no reason why they should not be able to run a new game or a new piece of software, because the performance of their CPU is not that much different than some more modern ones.
Yeah.
Like I seen it, I had this screenshot. I can't find it now, but it was some guy. He had like an original like Core i5, and he was complaining about some game and saying it was poorly optimized. And it was like a AAA title, like really tough to run kind of game, like a Crisis kind of thing. And he's saying, "Oh, it's poorly optimized." No, buddy. I think your CPU is just too old. It's like, at the time, like 8 years old or whatever.
Yeah, that's old. Like that's you need a replacement at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's too bad. Like we're talking about this whole FSR thing and DLSS and things like that. It's different technologies. Like how far do they want to go with that kind of technology where they can say, hey, your old hardware can now play newer games. It can last a lot longer. Do they it's not in their best interest to really go down that avenue, right? I feel like in the big picture, at least when you talk about their bottom line, they want you to upgrade, right? Look at the whole cell phone cycles. Like it's crazy, the cell phone cycles, how they want you to upgrade. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, well, I think it's, if we're talking about cell phones, it is different. In the Apple camp, they really hammered home that, whenever you're ready to buy a new one, there is a new one here for you. That's why they release them every year. But they don't say, you must, there's no messaging saying that you must buy this or whatever. They always say, it's the best iPhone ever or whatever, of course. But they're a bit more relaxed on that. Android, I don't really know what's going on. I haven't had an Android phone for a few years. But I imagine there's like a lot more competition because there are, a few different makers of phones. Probably less than there once was, though. Like who's still out there? Samsung and Google Pixel. Is there anybody else?
Huawei.
Okay. So like all the Xiaomi? Chinese phones.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot more of those are definitely popping up, but there are a lot of smaller brands I think that don't get a lot of headlines just because they're not putting out these really nice flagship phones. But yeah, as far as flagship goes, there's very few companies that are actually in the fight when it comes to Android right now.
Yeah.
At least it appears that way to me.
To bring it back to computer hardware, it's, I think there are a couple different strategies going on here as well. Maybe. I mean, just from my view, it sort of seems like, AMD is working a little harder to make you get the most out of your existing hardware. Having FSR go back several generations of hardware is a pretty nice thing. NVIDIA really wants you to buy the new one. I'm quite sure of that.
Yeah. And they've shown their hand there, and we've seen things that, like we talked about before, that are software locked to the newer cards for that reason, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Like, why else would that happen? I'm sure, well, there could be other reasons with support and things like that, compatibility, and actually having a team to work on it, perhaps. But, yeah, I mean, can't blame these people for trying to make money. I understand that, but it is nice when your things can actually last a while, or even get better with time, like we've talked about in the last episode with AMD's cards. Yeah. But as far as Windows 11 goes, I'm personally looking forward to the change. I just feel like it's a long time coming. Like, I feel like I've been with Windows 10 for a while, and I feel like that's the case because between Windows 7 and Windows 10, to me at least, it didn't feel like a huge difference. Obviously, there's a lot of user differences. We've talked about that in the past as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious to see what kind of changes we're going to get. And I'm hoping it's going to be good changes.
Yeah, you can run Android apps off the Amazon store, which is what everybody wants, right? Because there's lots of apps on the Amazon Android store.
Like I didn't even know there was an Amazon.
No,
Android
there's not. There's YouTube's not on there actually. Yeah,
Amazon Android store.
I bought an Amazon Fire tablet a couple years ago because they're dirt cheap, and it was only going to be used for media consumption. And
right.
Yeah, well, it was for my wife, but it was pretty good. There is a Netflix app, but she occasionally wanted to watch, like, I don't know, some yoga video or whatever on YouTube, and it's just a disaster. Like, there's no YouTube app because Amazon and Google are constantly fighting.
It's so annoying.
It's really
so annoying. Like, I love Audible. I love listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't just stream, Chromecast or whatever. It's just like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, they do. There are some concessions. Like a couple of years ago, they actually added Chromecasting to the Prime Video app.
Yeah.
Which was nice. But I mean, it's just one out of many things that need to be done.
Yeah.
Like it's just really annoying. Like, why you should be able to use, like, ask your Google or your Alexa or whatever to stream, like, whatever music service you use.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just seems petty, right? It's not like they can't make it happen. It's competition. It is what it is. Things could be worse, I suppose.
Yeah.
Speaking about competition, we got some competition coming into the motherboard space. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, this one is interesting. So EVGA has released a new 9-second teaser that suggests an X570 motherboard is in the works. This news comes as a shock to the hardware world, as EVGA has never produced a motherboard with an AMD chipset before. This comes from Tom's Hardware. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. I actually didn't know that EVGA made motherboards until reading this. But I've just known them as one of those, like, graphics card makers that only deals in NVIDIA. Kind of like Sapphire only does AMD.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is interesting. I wonder how far this will go. I wonder if maybe they will one day make, like, AMD video cards.
Well, if we can infer what's going on, use some of the situational awareness about the market and how AMD is slowly, sticking their nose in the graphics card market. I could foresee maybe in the next couple of years, EVGA getting on board with that. I don't know what kind of deals they have to do behind the scenes with NVIDIA and that, but could be that they jump on there. But like yourself, I didn't know that they made motherboards at all. Actually, a friend brought this up to me the other day, that EVGA are making an X570 motherboard, and I was like, I didn't think they made motherboards. So on the record, are they producing other motherboards? Like, is this the first one?
Well, I've just looked it up on Canada Computers here. I see there are 2 Z490 motherboards.
Okay. So they've done Intel.
Yeah. So the article mentions they have strong ties with Intel and NVIDIA.
Oh, okay. So they've been living in the dark side. They're slowly moving over. Like, all right, we need the balance. We need balance in the force. Yeah. So from what I've heard, I've only had one EVGA product. It was a GTX 770. It was great. Loved that card. I sold it once I upgraded, and I've just heard such good things about the company as far as their customer service has gone, especially right now with the whole pandemic and this whole graphics card shortage. People who have tried to get an EVGA graphics card, not NVIDIA, EVGA has been really great at fulfilling that. And they have this swap upgrade program. What do they call it? I can't remember the name of it.
Trade up.
Trade up, is that
Step
it?
up. Step up.
Step up, yeah. Which is really good. It's really good to see companies trying to just really give you great customer service, because there's a lot of tech companies and manufacturers that really do a horrible job. HTC is the one that comes to mind when I think of crappy support. I never had to deal with them, but man, just the stories I've read, it makes it sound, I'm like, I don't want to buy anything from them. Like with the whole Vive situation, seemed like most people had, maybe not most, but many people had terrible experience with them.
Yeah, I won't get into that. I had an experience with them, but it's like feels like a million years ago. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EVGA Step Up program is if you buy an EVGA video card and something better comes out within 90 days, you can trade it in. No questions asked. They also have something. They also have like a trade-in thing as well, but I looked into it at one point. If you trade in an old graphics card, they give you credit towards a new one.
Yeah.
It doesn't always really make sense, though. You can usually, especially in today's environment, you can probably flip that for much more than they would give you.
Yeah. It's kind of like what they do with phones. If you go to get a new phone, you trade in your old one.
Yeah.
You get some kind of deal. Yeah. But as far as it goes and the pedigree that they have, in my mind, they're a company I would want to buy from if they're going to be producing motherboards in the foreseeable future. That's definitely an option I'd put on the table because, yeah, they seem like a great company.
Yeah, I had my 980 Ti was an EVGA. I mean, it did die a heat death, but could have been, partially my fault for, I don't know, just maybe not cleaning my filters enough. Anyway, it did last 6 years or something. It was pretty good. I mean, I did pretty well with it.
What happened exactly? Like, do you know why it died?
These MOSFET things were leaking.
Okay.
And I think that's caused by heat.
Yeah, I think so these EVGA motherboards, it looks like they're making their Dark series, what's coming for AMD, and I'm just looking up the Intel versions of these boards, and they do look pretty nice. The Z series, I guess this is a Z390.
I said nice. It in American, just it's a Z.
Oh, sorry. Z390.
390 or 490?
I was looking at the 390, but yeah, 490 is the more modern one. Yeah, but speaking of aesthetics, because aesthetics is something that is superfluous. It's not integral to the way that your PC works. Obviously, with the advent of LEDs and RGB LEDs, it's like they're everywhere in a lot of machines. Some machines, it's just explosions. Every fan has it. Like cables have RGB on them. Everything.
Yeah. Every month is June.
Yeah. And personally, I don't know if I've talked about this before. I found the new series from EVGA, the 3000 series NVIDIA cards, are just horrid. They just look so bad. That whole, like the red thing at the end, or whatever color it was at the end of the card. Their implementation of the RGB LEDs on the side, like that rainbow strip on the side, looks great as far as the color goes, but just, I don't know, it just didn't have a good look to it for me. When they put their logo on the fans and everything, I don't know, just not good for me. In fact, this whole lineup of graphics cards recently, just none of them really looked really nice. Maybe some of them from Asus, but even still, there was like...
There was one EVGA one that had like this weird like red clown mouth or something on it. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was talking about, the red thing at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The RGB doesn't really offend me all that much. I think like once you pick a color, you would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Because, just because you have the ability to display 25 million colors or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to display all of them.
No.
All the time.
That being said, it's a banger of a card. And their Kingpin series has always been at the top, just smoking. But aesthetically, I miss their older style, like the 600 series, 700 series, just basic, sleek, nothing too flashy, maybe a little gold emblem on the side. Kind of miss that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? Like, what's your favorite from around here, from around now? Like the most modern cards?
I really like my my Sapphire. What is my card? Sapphire RX 6800 XT Nitro Plus or something, I think. Yeah. It's silver, which is I think really cool and different.
Mm-hmm.
It's got I think the LEDs are tasteful. I don't know. I really like it. It's got like a light up logo on the back. It's probably my favorite looking gigantic video card.
Yeah, it has almost like it kind of almost looks like a reimagination of the actual reference card from AMD themselves, like this, with the similar colors and everything.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, but you see like I see the backplate most.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And that's silver.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
And I don't really know what this logo thing is.
Yeah, is it like it looks like a alien or something?
Yeah, I kind of thought it's a raccoon or a fox, maybe.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange. It kind of to me, I just kind of like it is raccoon like. Kind of has the mask and the ears and the nose and the cheeks and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's supposed to be. I looked at like previous generation Sapphire cards and it's like a less complicated version of that logo. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm just going with raccoon.
So it's the Nitro logo.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I wonder what it is. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always those logos in different brands. They have them. I mean, the most famous one's going to be the ROG one from Asus.
Yeah, which
like,
is,
I don't know, it looks like a little mask or something. I don't know.
Well, it's pretty similar to like the Gigabyte logo as well. There's Gigabyte also has this like, Godzilla eye or something.
What's their premium stuff called? Gigabyte.
Aorus.
Is it
Aorus has
a
yeah.
Aorus.
Aorus
Aorus has like
a
the bird.
That has more like an eagle kind of thing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So this Gigabyte one, yeah.
Yeah, the regular Gigabyte stuff has this like Mecha Godzilla eye.
Yeah.
It's like somebody on Reddit showed that it was the 1990s Godzilla movie poster.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like the same eye.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked up Godzilla movie poster. There's a bazillion of them, of course.
But it's funny how this branding really affects people's buying decisions. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I'm above it at all. Like, for whatever reasons, the way certain things look, it just makes you feel like it might be better, or like whatever. It's just nice to look at, or it's all nonsense, but it's still affects
I would
us.
say I personally lean away from meaningless words.
Yeah.
Like there's some, I can't remember which company made it, but they have they had a video card with two fans, and it was called the Twin Frozr, FROZR.
That was MSI, right?
I don't remember. But just like dumb stuff like that really means nothing.
Yeah.
It makes me cringe a little bit. Yeah. And I try to stay with that. Sapphire Nitro Plus. Okay, those are all words.
They're okay though?
They're words. They're not just like made up garbage.
Frozr? Yeah. Fair enough.
Or like there was some other one. Like toxic something or other.
Oh yeah, that's who else. They make AMD cards, right? The toxic cards.
I can't remember who it is.
Anyways.
Oh, yeah. Toxic is an actual brand. I see.
Oh, is it?
Toxic. I guess it's a Sapphire thing. I can't remember. I used to have a list of like ridiculous named cards.
There's too many. There's way too many. I'm just happy that personally I was able to grab something that I found aesthetically pleasing. I'm just trying to figure out how to turn off the LEDs on my graphics card because the bright white LEDs are just a bit too much. Yeah.
Just got to put your computer on the other side.
I'll just turn it around. Put it under the desk? No, that's a bad idea. God, that's a fear of mine. So when I bring my computer into the living room, it's like, in front of the TV, right? And I'm just terrified someone's going to spill something into the top of it. Just see you later.
Yeah. Well, my desk is like 6 feet wide, so I have it on the floor. And it's still it's half covered by desk, but it's not anywhere near where anyone would dump anything on it.
That's good.
But yeah, I have window facing away from me because it's just I don't know. Like I would probably, if it was facing me, I'd probably just have all the LEDs off all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like personally, I've changed my tune on that stuff a little bit because my old case was this huge, black case, no window sides, had the panels inside, like the foam panels for dampening sound. I cared nothing about the aesthetics of the inside. It was about whatever worked. But now it's slowly, the RBG creep is coming in a bit, just like a little bit, not too much. Can't go too crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to fight it.
Yeah.
Just don't do rainbow all the time. Unless you really like rainbows, but like there's no need. Like just find your theme. Like pick a theme.
Yeah.
Or do like seasonal stuff. Like I sometimes do like Christmas or like Easter themed.
Well, that's fun.
RGB stuff. Yeah.
I should do that. I've relegated myself to just not doing anything with it because I tinker with my computer so much, changing things that things get set to default anyways. And I've recently, for the past probably few months, it's been on default. So what do we got? RAM's on rainbow. The cooler's on just white circle. The motherboard itself is orange, just a solid orange. And then the graphics card's white. It's not flowing at all. But usually I like a blue, especially the RAM.
Yeah.
Do you have what kind of RAM do you have? Do you have the same RAM? There's Trident X or whatever, Trident Z.
No, I have Corsair. I don't know,
Okay.
Vengeance or something like that.
Because the blue color, I love the blue color, the RGB. It's like a really deep blue, but it won't go like a solid blue, but it'll have this one, the blue will come down like a waterfall, and it's mesmerizing, right? It's kind of like looking at a fire sometimes.
Yeah, I have, my RAM is doing that now. It's like more of like a golden shower, I suppose you could call it. Yeah, I guess you could say my computer is currently like Alliance themed. If we're like World of Warcraft, it's blue and yellow. Just kind of worked out that way. I reinstalled Windows, and I guess the default color setting for my motherboard's like GPU header is blue. So everything went blue, and my RAM was still in yellow from some other. I can't even remember what my colors were before, but yeah, I don't know. It looks nice.
Yeah.
But I only really see it when I like walk in and out of the room.
If that's enough for you, that's okay.
Yeah, that's all I want.
The worst is just having like a window too close, and you're like, you turn into a vampire, just like close everything. Like, no glare. Too much light.
Yeah, I wouldn't want the distraction of, by flashing or cycling LEDs while I'm trying to like focus on a game.
No. It can't be too bad. Like, I'm happy that the glass panel on my side's tinted, so it's muted, but yeah. Some of them, when you have every single fan that's RGB, it's just like full on just blinding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, EVGA, I'm looking forward to what they have when it comes to motherboards and the AMD side, and hopefully they find some success there. And one commenter says, the birth of the sexiest AMD motherboard is about to come to light. And he might be right, because personally, I think they look nice. That dark series look fantastic. But our next story here is not really a story, but, well, I guess it is kind of a story. And this is all Matt, because I've never heard of this before.
Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to talk for a little while about this. There's an app. It's made by Microsoft. It can be retrieved from GitHub. It's not like a Microsoft store kind of thing or anything, although it is pretty well put together these days. It's called Power Toys. And a friend of ours mentioned that they were seeing the demos of Windows 11, and they saw the snap layouts, and they thought, oh man, that's so cool. Can't wait to get Windows 11 so I can use snap layouts. What snap layouts are is just allows you to predefine areas where you would want Windows to stick to. By Windows, I mean like, program windows, like the window from a program. Because there's been a thing, like especially if you're like a multi-monitor user, there's, I forget what it's called, like sticky edges or something dumb like that, where if you're dragging a window from one monitor to another, it like sticks on the edge. And that can be nice if you want to stick it on the inside edge of one of your monitors. But if you're wanting to move it to another monitor, it doesn't really work out so well. It gets annoying because it's like this speed bump you have to go over to move one window to another. And also it's sort of limited in how you can set it up. I have one landscape monitor, one portrait monitor. So the default setups with that window snapping or whatever it's called, it's not really that great. But Power Toys, which you can get from github.com/Microsoft/PowerToys, it's a suite of things, kind of like, like I guess Google has labs or whatever, like in Gmail, you can add extra features or whatever. This is like a bunch of different tools for Windows. You just install this program, and the one that's like snap layouts is called Fancy Zones, and I couldn't live without it, honestly. You predefine exactly how you want your windows to like to snap basically. So for example, if I have an area on my secondary monitor where I always put Discord and I want it to be exactly this high, I can draw that zone ahead of time. And anytime I launch Discord, I hold shift down, it shows me an outline of that area, I pop it in there. Or you can put any program you want in there. You can divide your monitor up into, I don't know, like, it's fully customizable. It's not just on a grid or anything. You can just draw a little corner and just pop a program in there, almost like a widget or something like that. I really, really like it. I really recommend it, especially if you're somebody who likes, multitasking, having multiple windows open at the same time. In Power Toys, there's also a bunch of other things. I don't use them all as much. Color Picker is an interesting one. It's just it allows you to set a shortcut where you can, like for example, you press, Windows Shift C, and there's a little tooltip that comes up by your cursor, and whatever your cursor is hovering over, it'll show you the hexadecimal color of that thing. So if you're doing web design or I don't know, Photoshop or whatever, you can just look at a picture or a video or whatever, anything on your screen, point your cursor at it, and it'll tell you what the exact color is in hexadecimal, which is, pretty handy. Actually, it tells you RGB and Pantone or something probably too. There's other stuff in there too, File Explorer add-ons, giving you preview panes, an image resizer. You can set exact, if you do something where I don't know, maybe you're a web designer, you always you're always resizing images and you want an easy way to resize them to a specific size. You can preset those and use a simple shortcut to resize them. It's pretty cool. Keyboard Manager just allows you to basically, remap keys to do whatever you want. Power Rename is another thing. Just allows you to, if you're organizing your media library or something, it's handy for that. If you want to rename a bunch of files in a specific way. And yeah, I don't know. There's other stuff. Actually, okay. This one is actually very cool. It's called Power Toys Run. So we were talking maybe last week about how when you search from the Windows Start menu or the search bar or whatever, if you still have it on your taskbar, sometimes it just randomly opens up Bing and searches for stuff when you're just trying to find a file on your computer.
Yeah. Super
annoying, right? With Power Toys Run, it basically brings macOS functionality into Windows. macOS has this as well, where you press Command Space and you get this floating search field in the middle of your screen, and then you just type in whatever you want. With this, in the Windows one, you press Alt Space, a little search field shows up in the center of your screen, you start typing. So if I type Firefox, or actually let's type google.com. My first thing there is to open google.com in my default browser, not Bing or Edge or whatever, which is really great. And it also searches on your computer. It's so much better than the Windows native thing. It's just, I just need to remember to use that instead of pressing the Windows button, press Alt Space. But yeah, I would definitely recommend people check out Power Toys. It is an official Microsoft product, although it's in constant development. Well, I mean, not that Windows is not also in constant development. But it's pretty cool. You should definitely check it out. github.com/Microsoft/PowerToys.
That's awesome. And it's definitely something. So you put it in here earlier this week, and it's something I went and looked at. checked out, and it's absolutely something that I would like to take advantage of, because I already like the whole snap functions that are inside of Windows 10, being able to just pull things to the side and, and set up different windows, right? But to organize that in a way that's customizable and to get back to that easily is something that I've been missing, because all the time I'm doing the snap functions, I'm snapping at the side, the top, wherever, and then I'm having to resize manually the windows to fit where I want them.
Yeah.
Even though I'm using them that same way all the time. So this is something I'm definitely going to get into, but I am hopeful. Like, so it is supposed to be something that's going to be usable in Windows 11, essentially something like this. Is that right?
Yeah. Fancy zones will be called snap layouts. Like I saw the demo in Windows 11, and it looks exactly the same.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice because, like, for example, like I have one monitor that's portrait. It's still 16:9, and Discord, I kind of like, I want it to take up like 60% of the screen, and it's not something that you can just easily do. Like Windows wants, like, okay, we'll put this on half of your screen, and what do you want on the other half of your screen? It's like, well, no, I just want Discord to take up, 60% of the bottom part of my screen. So it's really nice. You don't have to worry about the stupid snap thing being always active. Yeah. It's only active. It's just you hold down shift as you're moving a window, and then the zones, the fancy zones show up, and then you just pop them into one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Power toys.
Yeah. I've been using it for a really long time.
Cool.
And
I'm surprised I haven't heard of it. I thought it'd be more popular at this point.
I don't remember where I heard it. Probably Reddit or something.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. Speaking of cool things, let's talk about some games, Matt. Is that okay? Can we talk about some games?
Sure.
All right. Well, first of all, we've talked about Satisfactory in the past, and I just got to say, it's exactly what I thought it would be. It's exactly the kind of game that's going to make me addicted to it, so I'm really trying hard not to play it very much. Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's still early access, but for an early access game at this point, it's looking pretty nice. And it's a lot of fun.
It's been early access for years.
Yeah. It's late access. I don't know. It's been a while. And I've been hearing about this game for a long time, but it wasn't until a friend of mine told me about actually playing it. He's been playing it for the past week. So I was like, you know what? It's on sale. Summer sale's on. I'll pick it up. And I got to say, if you haven't seen this game, essentially, it's like taking No Man's Sky building functions and mining functions and just turning that into a much more fleshed out game. So you get dropped on a map, and there's a few maps, and they're essentially the same maps, except for, I believe, the resources are spread out differently whenever you start a new game. And the idea is you're dropped on this alien planet, you work for this corporation, and your job is to mine resources. So it's kind of like the whole cookie clicker thing, like you just get more and more stuff. But the fun part about it to me is just the logistics and the puzzle of it. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing from here to there, do it efficiently, and just have fun too, exploring a little bit, getting new tools to collect more resources or more easily. But one of my favorite tools that I've had so far is the zip line. And essentially what it lets you do is just grab onto your power lines that you've already set up and zip line across them. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. And I've only played probably 3 to 4 hours, I believe. And I can't say I've gotten very far. There's many tiers when it comes to your base that you've built. And I'm only on tier 2 of, like, I don't know. There's over 10. And I imagine it does get more and more complex as you go. But I joined into my friend's game to check out his base, and he was on the same map. So it was like seeing the same world, but with a whole different build structure. And he's gone deep. Holy. He mentioned that he's played 60 hours, and he's only had the game for a week. So he's fallen into that pit. But apparently just still really enjoying it. And to see the kind of stuff that he's built, whole nother level. I'm like, if you look at my place, it's a mess. It was everything, every single thing that was built was left there, and then I jerry-rigged everything else to work around it as I expanded. And it's not very big, but I'm at the point where it's like I need to tear everything down and start again. And that seems to be what he's done because, he's put down, basically huge platforms everywhere, different levels. He's got the hyper tubes that you jump in, and they're like those things to send like papers around an office. Those like suction tubes, but you just jump inside of it and you go to travel to a different spot. You can get vehicles, and it's fun. It is fun. It scratches that itch, that like Minecraft building, searching for resources, survival type itch. Of course, I don't think you can manipulate the ground like you can in Minecraft or No Man's Sky, but it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a couple years since I've played it. It is very good, though.
Yeah.
I think
I recommend
I might.
You gonna try it? You gonna do it again?
Yeah, I just rebought it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You had to rebuy it?
Yeah, I complained about it being. I complained about owning it on Epic.
Okay.
Which I realized, yes, I can probably crossplay or whatever, but I just find it super annoying having to I never think of this game because it's on Epic Game Store, and I never.
Yeah.
I open that once a week to get something free, and that's it, and never play it.
It's so annoying having to log into all the different stores. EA, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but EA is the worst one. Their password requirements are ridiculous. It's like they're locked up harder than my bank account. Like, I swear to God. Trying to get that password with the EA is just
EA and Ubisoft are really bad because they both now, I think they both have two different apps. Like, there's Origin and EA Play.
Yeah.
And they both can exist on your computer. And Ubisoft has Uplay and then Ubisoft Connect, I think it is. And why don't they just retire the old one and just stick with the new one? Anyway, so I just rebought Satisfactory.
Nice. Well, don't get too lost in there. It's quite addicting.
Yeah.
I've had problems with it performance-wise, so I've been playing it on Ultra, and for the most part, it run great. But then I turned it up again or played the game again, and every 3 to 4 seconds, it would stutter. Very similar to the Yakuza stuttering I was having. So I was like, what the is the problem? And essentially, all it was my second monitor causing issues. I unplugged my second monitor, and it just went away. So that got me excited. So I was like, let me try Yakuza. No, didn't work. Yakuza seems to be its terminal error with the Microsoft Store version, playing it through Game Pass. And it seems like many other people are having that same issue that Microsoft, like you'll look at the frame rates, and the frame rates show that they're pegged at 170, but still that stuttering happens. It's weird. It's too bad.
That's annoying.
Yeah. But it only happens when you're just running around, exploring, so it's not the biggest deal, but whatever.
Well,
anyways,
that's I do a lot of that.
Yeah, but it's not bad enough to make it unplayable. So it's I can deal with it. It's okay. And now to our main story, the thing that we were meant to talk about. Maybe I should have talked about this first, but anyways, GTA 6 to be reimagined.
What?
Vice City.
No. It sounded like you're saying they're starting over.
Sorry, GTA 6 might reimagine Vice City.
Yeah.
But it will not be out before 2025, sources say. This is by Tom Henderson. So that's it seems farther away than it actually is. But I was hoping for it to be out sooner. Just a bit disappointing. But hopefully that means it's going to be an absolute banger of a game.
Well,
so
I think pretty much all the other ones were.
They were.
I mean, well, you can't really speak because you haven't even finished the campaign of GTA 5.
That's true.
But I can tell you for sure that the GTA 5 campaign was absolutely incredible from start to finish. I mean, you know, obviously there's a few weird missions in there, like the tow truck one. But yeah, I don't know. To top that would be pretty tough.
But they just might. I mean, like, if you look at their track record of releasing games, they've done a pretty good job of it for the most part, especially the recent releases. Like, thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2. Fantastic game. I can't wait to go back into that because I haven't played it on PC. I played it on Xbox originally. So I'm excited to play that again. But just fantastic games. So what they're saying is that the extensive amount of voiceover and motion capture is probably going to lend to the game taking a longer time to create because they're really creating this cinematic world that you get to interact with. And thinking about just making a movie versus this insanely deep game is like got to be so much more work. Like, it's insane. Like, think about all the details that were in GTA 5. Well, now they have to meet and exceed that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But GTA 5 came out in 2013.
Yeah.
So how long do they need? When did they start working on GTA 6?
I don't know. But hopefully it was, I don't know. I just hope that it's all going to be fantastic like it has been in the past. And I hope I'm blown away yet again. I expect to be.
Yeah. So this article mentions, I don't know, there was some, I guess there's like a leaker or somebody. But I think they guessed that Rockstar may have been spooked by the absolute horrible launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Just to talk about Cyberpunk for a second. I don't have the source, but I saw an article the other day where they said that they feel the game would be at a stable point by November of this year. So like 1 year after launch, it will be ready for launch.
It's finally ready for launch?
Yeah. 1 year after.
1 year after.
1 year after they actually launched it.
As long as it happens at some point, like personally for me, I'm happy about it. But it was a nightmare, wasn't it? Yeah. So they said that they also. Sorry, go ahead.
The thing I want to stress is that I'm just talking about a stable game here. This is not a finished game. This is not putting in all the things that were promised and didn't make it in. You know, the poor decisions about enforcing first person, like all this other stuff, like that will be addressed in the future. But this is just like a game that works mostly.
Okay. So we're saying call me back in like 2 to 3 years? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Maybe that's just what it takes nowadays. Like they say in this article, there's increased scrutiny from gamers on studios that do crunch, that crazy overtime, getting people to work their butts off.
You know, it's not the fault of the developers that Cyberpunk launched terribly. It's the fault of management and investors.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, I don't want GTA 6 delayed infinitely. And at a certain point, a manager is going to have to put his foot down and say, like, we need this stuff done by this date. But, man, I don't know. Can you believe, like, Cyberpunk delayed its launch how many times? And it still launched 1 year too early? Like, it was supposed to come out in, like, April or something, and then it was, like, November and then December.
Yeah. It was a meme. It was a meme for a while.
Yeah.
And people would send out, like, you'd think it was another delay, but then it would just be like a Rickroll or something.
Yeah. This Cyberpunk delay template.
Yeah, so, like, that would be the worst case scenario is they put out a game that's not finished yet. I don't think they're going to do that. That's not the way they do things. Because, obviously, they still have this cash cow of GTA 5. People are still pumping money into that. Why do you think that it was free? Is it still free?
It was free I think it was like free for a week on Epic or something.
Okay, only a week, but yeah,
but it's still pretty cheap. It goes on sale all the time.
They're still making money from that. Like, I don't think the same can be said about GTA 4 in any way. Like, it did not have that kind of clout when it came to online gaming like GTA 5 has. So if they're still making money there, they're not in any rush if they can still keep that thing going.
Okay. Well, we've talked about this at length previously, I think.
We did. But yeah, I'm excited to see what a modern Vice City is going to look like. That'll be fun.
Me too. Yeah, Vice City is definitely one of my favorites. I think it was the first of those games that maybe the only game I have finished other than GTA 5.
Yeah, it's
because there was always some dumb like escort or chase mission in those games where I was just like, screw this. I'm just going to go drive around and, blow stuff up. But yeah, GTA Vice City, finished the whole game, owned properties, was making money and everything. I really loved the Miami Vice aesthetic. The music was so great, like the soundtrack. I think I worked at a music store at that time, and the Vice City soundtrack you could buy. It was like all the radio stations on like 7 CDs or something.
7?
Something like that. It was like one CD for each radio station. So it was like a selection of songs from each station.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's cool. What I'm looking forward to. What I'm looking forward to in GTA 6 is like the minor details, like those tiny game details that, like the Easter eggs, right? Like there was so many Easter eggs in GTA 5, you couldn't find them all. And it was so fun just to come across stuff like that. And I'm excited for that. Not only just the Easter eggs, but just like the radio. Like, West Coast Talk radio was usually the thing I would switch to. Because who's the actor who voices on that? I can't, is it DJ? It's like DJ Smoove or something like that.
There's a few of them.
It's JB Smoove.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Is he on? He's the guy on Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Probably, yeah. I never watched that show.
Okay, you have to watch that show.
I should, but I haven't yet.
You like Seinfeld, right? Like you have to watch
Seinfeld,
Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's Seinfeld 2.0.
Yeah. We've been watching Seinfeld. It's fantastic. It still holds up. It's fantastic. But when I think of JB Smoove, I think of The League, which was a lesser known FX show. And he had a few parts in there, I think, for a few episodes. He's a funny guy. That guy's funny.
Yeah.
There should be another league, though, but it's like F1 instead of NFL. I'd be down for that. Did you ever see The League?
No. Like, I'm not really into sports. And I
don't give a care about NFL at all. Like, not to offend anybody, but I do not watch football at all. But the show is just about a bunch of guys who play fantasy football, and it's about the antics around them. So, really funny.
Yeah, you've recommended it to me in the past.
Oh, fair enough. It'll happen again.
I don't really know how football works at all. It's not really
they throw
a thing.
Ball,
like we don't
and then
have,
they run with it.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's like, I don't know. It's not like a huge thing up here. We don't have an NFL team, and CFL. Like, I mean, the Toronto Argos won the Grey Cup, and there wasn't people out in the streets or anything like that.
No,
it was just kind of like, oh, you read about it in the newspaper the next day. It's like, oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup. I know.
I mean, that'll never happen anyways.
No.
I mean, their own Montreal Canadiens are going to be out tomorrow night, so that was a disappointment.
Yeah.
Anyways, now talking about sports. let's talk about flying. One last story here. We got Microsoft Flight Simulator delivers an update. And this is something that'll actually get me to install it again for the third time.
Yeah, so there's a new update coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator that will deliver a dramatic performance uplift on PC. So Sim Update 5 is going to lower CPU utilization and memory usage for improved performance and less stuttering. I'm very happy about this. This seems to be, I guess these optimizations have been made because it is being launched on the Xbox Series S and X pretty soon. So this story comes to us via PC Gamer. So the CEO and co-founder of Asobo, Sebastian, can't pronounce that last name, WLOCH, said, so basically we have rewritten a lot of parts of the game, or the engine, the architecture, or improved in order to get maximum performance out of the sim. And the minimum, I would say, resource on memory or bandwidth footprints. Anyway, I don't know. It's kind of, I didn't really understand that. Basically, they've done some optimization. There's some other stats in here, but I don't think they're totally, I don't think they totally make sense. But it sounds like lowered CPU usage, which has been a big problem, I think, for most people. Especially, when this game came out, trying to watch YouTubers playing this game, like it was rough because they were capturing like less than 60 FPS because the CPU usage was so high.
Mm-hmm.
I also tried like screen sharing over Zoom to show it to my dad. Like I mentioned before, he's a retired pilot. He's super excited about this game. But he was getting like a frame a second because the CPU usage of the game is so high that anything else is just like at a crawl. So hopefully lower CPU usage might mean higher frame rates for us, maybe. I don't know where the bottleneck was exactly. Lower memory usage, I don't care. I've got 64 gigs. I wish there was something that would use it all. But it's nice for other people who have less. I wonder if
the sim is down from 16 gigabytes to 4.7 gigabytes.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, and they're getting says 20 frames per second boost. With the CPU be only using 75%, the GPU using 100%, and shifting that over. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't mention that because there was. It says the test system is an i7 9700K. Okay, that's great. That's what I've got. An RTX 2060 Super. Okay, very common card, I think. The game is running at 4K Ultra with a 40% render scale.
What?
What?
Why? Yeah.
Why don't you just... Why would you do that? 40% render scale. Okay.
Maybe they just moved a bunch of these parameters around to see what they could get the most performance boost from. So they could just try everything. See what runs the worst and then see if we can make that run better. Yeah, I don't know why you'd render scale down like that.
Yeah, I'd probably run it at just 1080 and let the monitor handle the scaling.
Exactly. Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyways. That'll be nice. I mean, I haven't played it since I got the new graphics card. Not that I think that would make a huge difference. It would definitely work for textures and things like that. But as far as frame rate goes, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. So if this can do that in some way and reliably keep the frames above 60, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, me too. They mentioned like stuttering or whatever. I have noticed the game, even when I do configure it to get 60 frames or whatever, it does still seem like flickery or something. There's something weird about it. So hopefully this sorts that out.
Yeah, and the thing about some monitors now, especially these high frame rate, high FPS, IPS monitors, they have a lot of ghosting that can happen, and it especially happens at lower frame rates. So if you're playing a game at 60 frames per second, it'll run fine, and it'll run at 60 on your monitor, but you end up getting a lot of this ghosting, and it just really crummies the experience. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I was playing Yakuza the other day, and I was fiddling with all these settings trying to fix it. Didn't happen, but for whatever reason, it defaulted back to 60 frames per second. So I was like, what the heck's going on? I couldn't figure out what's going on. And the ghosting was just horrid. And I figured out why. But yeah, it's definitely, I think we've talked about this, which is like the problem with monitors. There's no perfect monitor. Not yet.
There may be.
You got to trade off somewhere.
It's probably more expensive than I have spent so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And even the good ones, I would consider the monitor I have to be quite good. It's expensive. It's a lot. I paid a lot of money for that monitor. Comparing to my old one, which was $150, I could buy 4 of them for the price I had to pay for this Asus monitor.
Yeah.
And it's not the top. Some of those other Asus ones, the ROG ones, or what was that? It's like a monitor. It's like a gaming TV essentially, but it's really just an oversized monitor. It's tens of thousands of dollars or something. Maybe it's not that much. I'm exaggerating.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was,
I think, who did I see? It's a 65-inch HDR gaming monitor, 144 hertz, 4K. I wonder what the price is. It's called the Asus ROG Swift. 65-inch. It's got to be up there.
So there's another story on Tom's Hardware I saw, but I forgot to paste it in. Japanese company launches gaming monitor with IGZO technology. This is some new technology which stands for indium gallium zinc oxide. It's a material used for backlighting modules of LCD panels. Features a 20 to 50 times faster electron mobility, considerably better translucency, and smaller transistor size. Blah 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 blah. I don't know. It seems interesting. It's this company out of Japan.
Interesting.
Yeah, some new kind of backlighting technology.
Is it like the micro LED? Or mini LED?
I guess it would be something like that. I don't know if it has local dimming or not, but I imagine it could do something like that.
Interesting. Cool. Anyways, should we talk about that? Maybe we could bring that up next week. I need to look more into it, man. This podcast has been
one thing,
a little
actually,
bit...
Sorry, we did miss something in our GTA conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody, a fan, made a mod to GTA 5, which adds AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or FSR. I thought this was pretty cool because, well, I mean, it's just a fan-made mod, so that's pretty cool. You know, we may not need to rely on companies to add this into their games if it's a moddable game. Then we could get improvements out of these games. I'd like to see one for Cyberpunk, I guess, and maybe Minecraft if they're not already on the way. But I just thought it was pretty interesting that just some dude could add it in. Because as we know, Rockstar is just busy counting their shark card revenue.
No, it's awesome. It's like we had that story, I don't know how long ago it was, but somebody who modded it or had this patch essentially that could get the game to load much, much faster. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that they did add it in, or they paid this guy essentially a bounty for it. So yeah, this could be something like that where they do add it, because we were talking about this in private about the performance of this game, because with this new card, the 3080 Ti, I can finally play GTA 5 at maximum without issue, because even with my 1070, it would have issues with certain settings. It just wouldn't go for it. And at the time, it was, GTA 5 had already been out for several years at that point. So it's still a hungry game. It still looks pretty good for its age.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. I'm just watching this FSR video. It's on YouTube. The title of which is I Added Fidelity FX Super Resolution to Grand Theft Auto 5. It's by Naruto UA. And yeah, you can see the difference. He's doing on-offs. You can notice the difference. It's definitely sharper. That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's what we need. More of that.
For sure.
Cool. Anything else you want to mention on the show today, Matt?
Nope. I think it's a pretty slow news week. I don't know if it's like the lead up to 4th of July or something.
Something big's coming.
Happy 4th of July. Happy 1st of July. First.
That's right.
Canada Day.
First is before 4th, by the way. Yeah, it was a bit slow today. I feel so off. So if the podcast was a little crummy, I'm sorry. Next week I'm gonna come back stronger. It's gonna be awesome. Need to add more work for myself there. Just add the time there. Great. But we're gonna be talking about how I'm ending my relationship with Reddit and some F1 Racing League drama that's been coming to an end. There's a couple things I want to talk about, but that's extra stuff. So we're going to leave that to the after show. So if you listen to this on YouTube, please leave us a like, and everywhere else, you know what to do. I'm not going to hassle you anymore. And if you happen to want to help the show out, I've been thinking about this whole ad spot thing. If you want to use PIA, I'm not going to bore you with the whole ad thing. Just if you want to help us out, check out the link there for PIA. But that's that. Anyways, this has been Off and On again. We'll see you next time.